How's everybody doing? I gotta warn you, I'm kind of in a, I guess the technical term is terribly foul mood. Um, it's kind of cold and wet where I'm at. Um, I've been on, I haven't had any kind of job assignments of late, kind of on like a weird scheduling hold. So I've been mainly working from home doing tech support. I don't want to say I'm bored because I'm having a lot of great quality time with the wife and the son, but one of the reasons I like to do field work is the job is so hectic and stressful that it kind of helps me, I guess distract me from like some of the physical issues that I have. So like for the last 2 days, I've been wanting to crack the knuckles on two fingers that I haven't had in 17 years from the ID explosion. It's a little weird to say that I got phantom limb pain just for two fingers, but it's like it's kind of like that. I don't want to say I'm bouncing off the walls, but you know, it's just you can only work out so much and jog so much and answer relatively simple questions before you start kind of bouncing off the walls, I guess. So, also, real quick, if this jank person is a bit that you O&A guys created, this character, just on the off chance that Patrick would later um, latch onto an innocent woman to just harass and stuff and start a beef with, you guys are psychos. I mean, then again, you're the same guys that somehow got Patrick's like 10th grade transcripts, which to this day scares the crap out of me how you guys track that down. But it's a relatively slow day. It's around 2 p.m. I handled all my trouble calls, and I'm basically waiting for the boy to get home from school. And of course, I'm really waiting for the wife to get home. It's one of the fun things about field work is we've been married for like 10 years and we're still in like the newlywed stage. Because a lot of times when I get to hang out with my wife and my son, we're like overseas in some kind of exotic locale or something. It's kind of rare that I have this much time at home. So I'm trying to, I don't want to make it sound like I'm not enjoying this time at home, but it is a little weird. You know, it's one of those things where my job is so stressful. When I'm not stressed out, I start to stress out a little bit. But I just, I'm blown away that like Leslie is still having to deal with this. Like this jank person says that we get it, Karen. You said horribly racist things and are making excuses instead of taking accountability. And I fully admit I couldn't keep my mouth shut. I had to say something. It's like Leslie hasn't done anything wrong whatsoever. And I'm not trying to take away her being like a misogynistic white knight or nothing. I'm not trying to take her, I don't know, not independence. See, this is where Leslie would have a word for it because I'm an engineer. I'm not good with word. I don't speak English gooder. Autonomy. That's the word I want to say. I don't want to take away Leslie's autonomy because she's shown over and over and over again that she's more than capable of defending herself. But it's got to be exhausting at the same time where these people are just blatantly trying to go after her job and stuff. And I still, if somebody could fill me in, exactly what did Leslie do to end up on these idiots' radar? I would honestly like to know this. Like, to me, the fascinating thing about Patrick is not when the O&A trolls mess with him. Because and it's weird how much time and energy. And Leslie, I think this is one of the reasons why Patrick really latched onto her was that Leslie pointed out the fact that like you keep re-engaging these people. You clearly care about them because you keep re-engaging them. Um, and I think that's one of the reasons why Patrick has an issue with her. The other big reason, and I don't know if anybody else will notice this, I interacted with Patrick once, and he blocked me, instant blocked me. I don't need like this. It's the same thing with that Shane Noakes weirdo, right? And I felt really bad about this because I want to say it's like one of Leslie's tweets where she like apologized to me online because she mentioned how um, or or she was talking about this Shane Noakes guy, and I said, yeah, I only interacted with him once because I'm like, you see my pinned tweet, and you can notice how he just blocks me, but for whatever reason, he kept harassing you until he got banned from Twitter. Which let's take a moment and appreciate how difficult it is to get outright banned from Twitter. It's really hard to do. And he got outright banned from Twitter. And Leslie's first response is to go, "Oh, I am so sorry. I am so sorry, Mike, that you got pulled into this." And it's like, it's not your fault. It's not your fault at all. You haven't done anything wrong. It's just like, I don't understand Patrick. Like, I don't understand a lot of people that don't understand this. Whether you are getting bullied or not, when you start becoming the bully, you don't have justification just because you've been bullied by trolls to then become a troll. These are the kind of people that say, well, there's no bad tactics, only bad targets. And I used to run into this perspective in the military when I was enlisted and when I was an analyst. And these are the kind of knuckleheads that thought, well, if you just blow up enough insurgents, we're going to win. And it's like, no, that's what we tried to do in Vietnam, and it didn't work. There are bad targets. Like civilian casualties matter kind of thing. And I would have to deal with these people that didn't understand that. It's kind of the same thing with Patrick, where it's like you go through Leslie's tweets and her replies and stuff, and like she just comes off as a nice person. Yeah, here it is. This is my pinned tweet. Who is this guy, and what is wrong with him? And this is where I said, how does one control what? Because he was flipping out at Leslie, basically threatening her job at her company over who was liking her tweets. And I was like, well, how does one control what other accounts do? I think this is a simple question. Like, if you are going to blame people for what other accounts do that you have nothing to do with, what is she supposed to do? Just leave the internet because you have a problem with her? And then, of course, he calls me a Nazi pedophile. But again, the critical thing is, because I'm a man, he cuts me off. Fine. I don't have to deal with him anymore. I didn't bother looking at any other tweets he said about me or nothing. I stay behind the block. But he can't do that with Leslie because she's a woman. And again, I'm not trying to sound like a misogynistic white knight and take away the autonomy of women, but this is the kind of crap that women online have to put up with all the freaking time. Guys out there who have wives and girlfriends, I guarantee you, if you've never talked to them about this, you would lose your crap about the stuff that gets thrown the way of your spouse or your significant other. Absolutely. I know for a fact my wife cannot let me see her Twitter account. Not Twitter account, I'm sorry, Facebook account. Because she's constantly having to block messages and stuff from people. I even had a coworker one time. Oh, golly. I've only made it to one Christmas party at my company. And I have my wife there, and it's a really nice dinner. It's catered. They got a bar and everything. And at one point, I had to go up to this guy, Ben. And I said, Ben, if you keep helping my wife all night long, I'm going to let her drop kick you into the dumpster, okay? She's about ready to rip your head off. Like, I could tell my wife was being made uncomfortable because he was just staring her down the whole time. And Ben's one of those annoying neckbeard engineers who doesn't have a wife or kid. I'm not even sure if he's ever actually gotten laid, but he's an expert in all things in terms of relationships, women, feminism, and, of course, how to raise your kids. I don't get along with Ben very much at all. But it's like, I felt so bad about this because Ben's first thing is, Leslie's first comment is, I'm so sorry you were implicated. He's the only one who threatened violence, so please be wary. Leslie, you don't have to worry about anything. First of all, my son could outrun this guy up a flight of stairs, and he couldn't follow. Secondly, I know for a fact he can't afford a plane ride out to Appalachia. Thirdly, the moment that my wife feels like her son is threatened, oh, Shane's getting 4 rounds into his chest cavity. It's like, you've never seen pissed off, angry, like an angry Polish woman. If you threaten her child, I'm always afraid that like stuff is going to kick off between Poland and Russia, because I guarantee you, my wife is going to sit me and my son down, and she's just going to be raring to go, be like, "I love you both. Raise our son not to be weak." And that's the last thing she'll say to me as she goes off to Poland to get trained up with her brothers to go kill Russians. Like, you don't have to worry about my household being. Chances are, I would have to stop my wife, be like, "Honey, honey, honey, he's already on the ground. Stop shooting." Oh boy, it's just it really pisses me off, because like somebody like this should not have, nobody should have their job threatened because of a bunch of unhinged morons online and stuff. Now, I'm not sure if they're actually following through with their threats and all. And again, anybody that reads the interaction that Leslie has had with Patrick and Patrick's capos of weirdos, nobody goes, "Oh yeah, it's definitely the Leslie woman. Yeah, yeah, she sounds unhinged and totally crazy and stuff." That's not at all what's happening, Leslie. It's just ridiculous. Like, how would you have a problem with a woman that retweets this with a comment about a company that has young men volunteer to mow lawns for the elderly? It's like, it would be one thing if like Leslie has nothing but hot takes that are really super controversial, and she's saying off the wall stuff. None of that's there. None of that's there. I can honestly say that Leslie is one of maybe 8 or 9 people that I've ever seen on Twitter and interacted with their accounts, and I've interacted with them a bunch of times, where I'm like, you know what? I really wish she lived in Appalachia. I'd have her over for a cookout. I would want her to meet my son and my wife. I bet you we could have a good old time watching the sun go down after a nice, wonderful meal. You know, the kids are cooking up s'mores and stuff. And I guarantee you we could have a crazy in-depth conversation about all kinds of stuff. We might not agree. We might passionately disagree. But at the end of the day, it would be a wonderful meal with a charming, lovely lady. I'll tell you this right now. If I had Patrick in my house for longer than 5 minutes, I'd throw him out of my house. He'd probably do something really stupid and annoying. Like, again, I don't agree with everything that Leslie retweets, or just because we're different people in different parts of the country with different perspectives, different backgrounds and all. But I could have a conversation with her. I could have a wonderful conversation with her. She seems like a nice, wonderful person. I have no earthly idea what I would talk to Patrick about. Because I guarantee you he would start talking to me about how he's getting trolled online on Twitter. And the first thing I would say is, "Well, have you ever thought about not engaging the trolls?" And I guarantee you he would flip out on me. And then I'd tell him, "Well, why don't you get out of my house then? You came a long way to get kicked out of a house." Like, oh, like how can you not enjoy a video like this, where a young lady gets to see her dad for her graduation, where he's home on leave? Sorry if I get a little emotional, but as a military veteran who missed way too many family functions and events because I was getting deployed overseas in Afghanistan and Iraq, you know, it means a little bit to me. Look at that. Look at that. I'm going to get crying. But it's like, yeah. I mean, he's destroying both our websites. I don't. If I read, I bet you this is about Shane Noakes. I truly suggest, for the good of your agency, you end this before damage gets worse. What is that? This is no longer a simple libel claim. I will not stop until your agency and both your websites are erased from its history. You had your Who talks like this? He wants to destroy Leslie's mother's memorial website. I don't know if that's Patrick. I'm going to give it a benefit of the doubt and say it's probably not Patrick. But jeez whiz, jeez, nobody should have to deal with this crap. You know what's eventually going to get happen is because this is what always happens with for anybody that stands up for themselves. They get burned out. They just get burned out dealing with this crap. And they're like, okay, I'm going to engage less. I'm not going to stand up for myself. I'm going to let the nutters win. It's like I don't know. Anybody else that like anybody that reads this interaction doesn't just go, "This is so stupid. This is so unfair. This woman did and nothing wrong." Like if anybody who has a different perspective than this, I just don't get you. I just don't get you. this is like this is like watching a grown man sucker punch a 9-year-old and then like somebody going, "Well, there's two sides to every argument." And be like, "What? No, no, no." But I digress. I'm going to get off because if I keep looking at this stuff, I'm just going to get more and more pissed off. Leslie, you're my hero. You seriously are because I just love it. The whole reason why these trolls keep messing with you is they can't stand you because you're a smart, liberated, self-aware woman that they can't match wits with. They cannot match wits with. When Patrick tries to sass you back, it is like watching a Shetland pony try to box Roy Jones Jr. You're just going like, why did they set this up? This is just animal cruelty, and that's what I think whenever Patrick tries to match wits with somebody like Leslie. And again, my previous comment or my previous point in my video, last video or whatever I made it, this is proof that Patrick has zero desire to go back into writing. There is no way Patrick will ever be able to get a literary agent to ever return a phone call the way he's been behaving online. But at the end of the day, I don't think Patrick ever cares about going back to writing. Because if he did, he would have gotten off of Twitter a long ass time ago. Well, Leslie, keep flying your sassy hippie chick flag. God bless you. You're an American hero.